Welcome to Rome. How many buttons?
2.
And what style?
Tactical.
Body armor, 0 penetration.
Mr. Wick, do enjoy your party.
You have no idea what's coming.
Rough night.
Rough night.
John Wick, Chapter 2, rated R, in theaters February 10th.
Somebody, please get this man a gun. John Wick, Chapter 2 starts right now. Welcome back to the Couch Brotato Podcast. Bit of a scheduling conflict. We were supposed to do Clueless today, but the guest we wanted to have on the show we couldn't get, so we're pushing it back to next week. So we're going to do an episode that we were going to do later down the road, but we decided to do it today. And to make this episode even better, guess who's back, everybody? Lucas is back.
Woo! I'm back. Yeah.
Lucas is back.
I know his baked potatoes.
It's an inside joke, everybody. We'll explain it to you sometime. But, yeah, we're doing John Wick 2. Lucas, how excited are you for this? Because you seem to, whenever I suggest, or ask you, hey, what do you want to do? This movie always seems to come up.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be back.
I'm glad you're back. Adam, awesome filling in. I did miss Lucas.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Appreciate you.
You did. Wonderful job filling in.
Being off for a couple weeks, my son came into this world, which I got to watch, which was really cool. Mm-hmm. Very much, much more respect for women. I respected women before, but that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But back to this movie. Yes, I'm very excited about this. I love this movie. When we were talking about this, we were deciding between the original John Wick and this, and you're right. This movie is better than the original, in my opinion.
I think so too. I think it just expands on the John Wick universe. Like we were discussing right before we went to record, that John Wick, the original one, great movie, but it's kind of like it's just a singular man on a mission movie. Like his wife has cancer, she dies, she leaves him a dog. Dog gets killed and his prized car gets stolen. Being a former assassin, he decides, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to take revenge and kill everybody that killed my dog and stole my car.
Which we all agree he should have killed that motherfucker for killing that dog.
He did.
Bastard.
Yeah, the minute you see him on screen, I hope John Wick kills him.
Yeah.
Real quick, for those of you that haven't seen John Wick or John Wick Chapter 2, which we're doing today, retired assassin John Wick's plan to enjoy a quiet life is cut short when he has to repay a debt. Pretty simple plot, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a really oversimplified when I was watching it. It's not like a super complex story, but it's not one of those straightforward, dumb, mindless action movies either.
Yeah, like watching it today. Well, actually, I watched it over a couple days because being at an advanced age, it seems like I have to watch movies in 2 parts now because I fall asleep.
Jesus, Papball.
Yeah. But I just noticed it seems to have taken a bunch of different elements from different genres and they've combined them into this series of movies. Like they have the gunplay from the Hong Kong action movies of the 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. You always seem to get a wisecrack, so that kind of gives you the Bruce Willis element from Die Hard and all the stuff Bruce Willis did in the 80s and 90s, and just it's incredibly violent. Not as violent as what we did last week, but it's still really violent. So you get a lot of that 80s, 90s action movie feel too. So it just works.
Yeah, I mean, and, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but our love fest for Keanu Reeves makes it all that better.
Oh, yeah. As soon as we get done with this first category, we're going to go into some of the talking points I have written down. So let's just go ahead and wrap up the tail of the tape here real quick. This movie was released on February the 10th, 2017. And funny story about that. This movie here solidified why I love my wife so much. For Valentine's Day, her and I decided we're going to go out to eat. We ate at a really nice restaurant. And we decided, let's go see a movie after that. And I think it was the second 50 Shades of Grey, whatever the fuck it's called. And
this movie sucks, but it's about sex, so everybody's going to buy into it.
Right. So I was under the impression that's what we were going to see. So we get to the box office, and I told her, I said, 50 Shades starts in like 20 minutes. She says, well, we're not seeing that. We're going to see John Wick 2.
Whew. What a choice.
And I just was like, you know what? This is the woman I was meant to be with.
And that's why the second baby happened.
That's right. So getting out of the sentimentality, this movie stars Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, Common, Ricardo Scarmarcio. I hope I pronounced that right. If you're listening, I doubt it. But if you are, I'm sorry I mispronounced your name. Ruby Rose and Lawrence Fishburne. Directed by Chad Stahelski.
Okay.
This has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 89% from critics and 85% from audiences. Did $175 million on a $40 million budget.
Wow.
And it's currently not streaming on any service right now. So if you want to watch this, you have to rent it or buy it on iTunes, Vudu, Fandango. Or just go rent it from your local library for free.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I never think about that.
You know, I didn't either until I drove past the library the other day. I'm like, you know what? I wonder if they still rent movies for free. And I'm sure they do.
Well, since we don't live in the same city anymore, I keep forgetting that there is a library. I forget that libraries exist.
Well, it's because everything is in the palm of your hand now. You can just get on your phone and look up something now, which is a shame.
Yeah. You don't have to work to get anything anymore.
Right, well,
back in my day,
we used to have to read books to learn information. We didn't have that damn Google machine.
I had to walk 20 miles uphill both ways to go to the library.
I had to carry books. I had to set up camp to get home because it took 2 days to get home. I had to sleep in a bear carcass to keep warm at night.
I didn't know there was bears there.
I had to fight a pack of wolves.
Man, these stories from the 1990s are fucking brutal.
Yeah. I don't remember doing it either. We're getting sidetracked here. I apologize, gang, but I'm just so excited to have Lucas back. So,
dude, I'm excited to be back.
We're gonna riff a little bit. One of the things that I was reading about John Wick is John Wick was kind of a modest hit at the box office. It wasn't like a super huge movie, but this movie kind of had the Austin Powers type climb, basically. Like, it's kind of a modest hit, but everybody discovered it on home video, whether they rented it on iTunes or bought the DVD. And then it became pretty big after that. And then, of course, now you got 2 sequels, and then there's a third one coming out. Is it supposed to be later this year, or is it early next year?
I know it was originally this year, but COVID kind of ruined everything. So it's I don't know. I'll look it up while you.
I know originally it was supposed to come out the same day as the 4th Matrix movie. Because I even told
we were talking about what are we gonna do? Fuck, we're gonna do a matinee. That's
we're just gonna see both of them. Yeah, like problem solved. But like Austin Powers, this is one of the movies that seems to be, the sequels seem to be better than the original. At least I think. I don't know what you think, but
yeah, I did. Sorry, I found the release date, May 27th, 2022.
Okay, so next year, not even a full calendar year, gang. Something to look forward to.
It's good news for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because now we don't have to spend all day at the movie theater. We can see The Matrix in December, John Wick in May.
Deal.
Thanks, COVID, I guess.
Actually, I would have been cool with spending all day at the movie theater. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bullshit people either. I would have too. But go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say I miss those. You remember those days where you would do a matinee?
Oh yeah, well I still do it from time to time. I mean, I have a kid, so I can't like, hey son, do you want to go see Jurassic World at 10:30 at night? I can't do that, so I have to sometimes see if he wants to go see it at 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like one of the movies that the both sequels, I think are better than the original. I mean, I don't know what you think.
It's been a minute since I've seen 3, and we were actually talking about how John Wick seems like invincible in 3. He kind of seems invincible in this one as well. So I'm not so sure that it's any more hokey, the third one. So looking at it from that perspective, I think you're probably right. They are both better. Although it's hard to pick a bad one. Mm-hmm. I don't think any of the 3 are bad at all.
Oh no, all 3 are like really awesome. But like I was telling you that with the sequels, they seem to expand on the universe more. Like like I said, John Wick, the first one just seems to be like strictly just a guy is seeking revenge and he extracts revenge. End of the movie. This one here, I mean, like he accomplishes said mission. He wants out. You're getting shit with like a guy coming up to him like he has to cash in a marker, which I think for our show we need to come up with that system, like the marker system.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, like as an example, I don't know, like 6 months down the road, you just give me this chip and say, hey, we're doing Not Another Teen Movie.
Okay.
And like I'm not a fan of that movie, but I have to do it because you're cashing in the marker.
Well, if you don't, then I have to put a bounty on you.
We haven't hammered out the details yet, but we may not go that far.
I hope not.
Yeah, we should look into the marker system. But you've got you get more into the Continental, which as I was watching this, I was thinking like, do they just let normal people stay at the Continental? Like you and I we can save up enough money and stay there, or is this just strictly an assassin hotel?
I bet that if somebody came in off the street, they'd probably tell them the rooms are full.
Yeah.
So it's probably like an assassin the only thing.
Yeah. It looks really nice though. Like I would stay there.
It's a beautiful hotel. How many is there? There's at least 2.
Yeah, there's one in Rome and then there's one in New York.
Yeah.
That we know of. But maybe we'll get into that in 4. Like, hey, there's a whole chain of them.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, there's one in Dallas, Texas. There's one in, Cedar Rapids.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Guadalajara. But, I mean, but you get the Continental stuff. You get the Bowery King and, like, when you're talking about the Continental, you're thinking high class. And then you get to meet, like, the guys that pose as homeless people, and they're set up in a factory, so you kind of get like the underbelly of assassins too. Mm-hmm. So you're getting into this whole world, like, okay, who's the Bowery King and who these guys? So you kind of get a glimpse into that world too. So I don't know, like I just think it's like you've opened up this whole universe in the second one, and it kind of expands on it in the third. So I kind of like that too.
Yeah, and I'm actually starting to believe that maybe some of this underground and the Continental may exist because the gun violence in New York City is outrageous right now.
Mm-hmm. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe John Wick's a real person, and
maybe I don't want to meet him, but because if I do, that means that I fucked up.
The last talking point that I have, you and I have discussed this many a times when we used to work together. Where would you rank Keanu Reeves if you were to rank the greatest action stars of all time? Now, I know Arnold is usually most people's number 1 or number 2. Stallone is usually number 1 or number 2. You have Van Damme, you have Seagal. Statham has a claim. But Keanu Reeves has a pretty solid case to be the greatest action star of all time. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. I want to hear what you have to say first.
Well, he's got some of my favorite action movies of all time for sure. One that you and I both agree is one of our favorites, Speed.
Oh, dude, love Speed, and that's going to be a future episode at some point.
That's definitely one that I could watch no matter what's going on. It's really hard to argue with him not being at least the top three, because you got John Wick, you've got Speed, you got The Matrix, you've got so many movies. You got Point Break.
Okay, I was going to say, please don't leave out Point Break, because that's one of my favorite movies of all time.
No, I was getting to it. I was trying to I'm like scrolling through his movies, trying to
I think
pick up a few more.
just on those 4 alone, he has a stake in the top 3.
Yeah.
I have the belief that I think he's the greatest action star in movie history. And the reason I say that is the fact that he has established himself in 2 major action franchises, John Wick and The Matrix, even though The Matrix 3 sucks, but that's for a different episode.
Yeah.
Speed is an iconic action movie of the 90s. I think it's probably one of the top 10 of all time. I love Speed. It's probably the best of the Die Hard on a blank movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then Point Break is an underrated gem. Like, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that haven't seen Point Break, but that's peak Patrick Swayze. That's Swayze at his absolute best. Young Keanu. You got Gary Busey. Catherine Bigelow before she became an acclaimed director. Point Break.
You actually introduced me to Point Break a couple years ago, because you couldn't believe I hadn't seen it, and yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
Point Break is great. Gary Busey, like right before he's like on the tip, the precipice of being crazy. He's not quite there yet, but like it's just going to take one little event to send him over the edge.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like Gary Busey is always he was just always off his rocker just a little bit, and then now he's just batshit crazy.
Yeah, but like I think I would put Keanu Reeves atop of that action movie mountain. I don't know. You said the top 3. Who would you put above him?
Maybe Arnold. Possibly also maybe Bruce Willis. But that's just my own, just because Die Hard is so great.
Yeah,
and
Die Hard is great.
I love Die Hard 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I 5 doesn't exist to me. That movie fucking sucks.
It doesn't exist to anybody. I don't even think Bruce Willis even. I think Bruce Willis thinks that the battery commercial that's out now is Die Hard 5.
Could be.
I put him at the top, and I'd put Stallone. I'd put Schwarzenegger 2 and Stallone 3.
I mean, you could shuffle it anyway, really, but it's hard to argue with. I mean, the top 3 are really interchangeable.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give Stallone. Stallone has Rocky and Rambo. Those are 2 iconic movie characters. Schwarzenegger had the Terminator, but then he had that great run from like essentially Terminator through, I would say, True Lies, where he was pretty much the biggest star in the world. And then
I love fucking True Lies. God,
yeah,
that movie's so awesome.
It is not. It hasn't aged well. There's a lot of things that there's problems with. I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah,
but I think just with Point Break, The Matrix, Speed, and John Wick, I would put Keanu at the top of that list.
And it's like I said, it's hard to argue that, and there's nothing wrong with him being the number 1 because he's fucking awesome.
I would love to hear some feedback on this. Maybe we'll put a question up on the socials, like asking you to rank the best action movie stars of all time. If there were a Royal Rumble, I think John Wick or Keanu would win, just based on that pedigree. I know John Wick would.
Yeah, John Wick would kill everybody.
All right. Well, hey, are you ready to dip into some categories?
Yes, sir. Let's do this.
All right. We're going to start out a little differently this time just because we usually go into research corner, but I think with the research corner for this one, kind of ties into the best scenes. So I think maybe we'll do the best scene first, and then we'll save the research stuff for last. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right. So the I Drink Your Milkshake Award for the best scene of the movie.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
I have 5. It was really tough for me to narrow this down to 5. But I have the opening car chase sequence where John Wick gets his car back. You get some really great Peter Stormare, who's Tarasov's brother. And even like you just kind of get a quick reminder like how fucking scary John Wick is in the underworld of criminals. Like they're telling stories, and even Stormare says that like the stuff that his henchman that comes into his office, he even says like some of that stuff's watered down, so it's like it's even worse than he's been told.
Yeah, and you could see the fear just when you have this Russian like mafia boss kind of shaking in his boots because John Wick could potentially come there and just take down the whole fucking thing.
Even the phone call, John Wick calls and says, "You have my car," and like you just see the fear in his eyes, like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that they call him the Boogeyman. You don't get too
that's
much
a really cool nickname.
You don't get too much of that in this one, but the fact that he's called the Boogeyman is just like, fuck, that's so awesome.
Baba Yaga.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about that scene is seeing that awesome car get destroyed.
Yeah. The whole reason he fucking went there and it gets fucking destroyed.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, like each time that car gets rammed, it's cringeworthy.
But that's all right. John Leguizamo can fix it.
Yeah, Aurelio can fix anything. And a nice little touch is after that whole sequence, you find out what movie you're watching.
Yeah.
They finally tell you, like, oh, hey, this is John Wick Chapter 2.
By the way, you can breathe now.
Yeah. Take a breath. We're going to let you know what this movie is and who's in it. I like the catacombs gunfight after Gianna's been killed. You get that whole thing where Santino has basically double-crossed him. He's like a loose end. And then you kind of get to see like, oh, well, this is why John Wick placed these guns in certain parts of the catacombs. Like he's expecting this.
Yeah.
And you just gets like just some awesome kills.
Oh man, that the fucking shotgun when he brings that out is so violent.
Oh yeah.
Like, when he starts shooting people with that close range, like God.
Yeah. And then it leads into that really good, it's not as good as a scene later on, but the fight with him and Common where they end up at the Continental. And then you get to find out like, hey, you can't be doing that in the Continental.
Yeah.
And then you even get that really cool line where basically Cassian tells him that I promise I'm going to make your death quick as a professional courtesy. And then like John Wick tells him he's going to do the same. I just thought that was really cool.
Man, imagine having the fucking balls like, yeah, I'm going to kill you. I mean, I'm going to try to do it in a nice way, but I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And the other guy's just like, okay, well, I'm going to try to kill you in a nice way too, bud.
That's the thing with this movie. Like, these assassins are classy people. Like, they have rules, and there's, like, a certain way to do things. It's just like, that's pretty awesome. I can respect that.
Well, as the character's name is slipping from, I think, is it Winston?
Winston, yeah. Ian McShane.
Yeah, he says, without rules, we're just animals.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Which, have I ever told you that there's, like, 2 actors, well, no, 3, that I would pay money for them to read, like, basically be my voicemail message when you called me, and Ian McShane would be one of them.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He's just, like, he's the classy British actor that, like, he just has that cool voice, and, like, he means business. I don't know why. Yeah. It's like, I want that guy to read my voicemail message. I'll spare you the Ian McShane impression because I can't do one.
Yeah, I thought about it for a second. I was this close to fucking doing it. My impressions are ass.
I was going to try it, and then I was like, you know what? No. Not going to do it. Have I told you how much I like a montage?
I believe you mentioned it a time or two.
Well, the third scene that I have is I call it the John Wick bounty montage, where basically like he's running the gauntlet of all these assassins trying to kill him after Santino puts the bounty on him.
Mm-hmm. That fight with that fat Chinese dude is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Or Japan. I think he's Japanese. Sorry.
And then like it cuts into that scene where Santino and Winston are in they're talking about like what Santino has done. He's basically said like, hey, they're talking about the bounty he's put on his head. And then Ian McShane delivers that really cool line, which may or may not be in best line of the movie later on. And then that ends up being the second fight with Cassian in the subway, which I've never seen that in a movie before, but they're just kind of like, it's like two friends that are like just kind of like play shooting at each other, but they're actually shooting at each other in this, like that subway, and just like they're shooting one and then they hide the gun and then like the other one will shoot.
You know, I was thinking when I was watching that, since John Wick is such a good shot, I was thinking that, you know, maybe Cassian was trying to kill him, but I don't think John Wick was actually trying to kill Cassian, because he was it almost looked like he was intentionally shooting those poles right by him. Like he didn't really want to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That, or maybe he was just waiting to like take care of him in the subway.
Yeah, could be.
Which I never noticed until today. There's like 5 or 6 people in that subway car watching that fight go down, like not even blinking an eye. They're just like, oh, 2 guys fighting in this car. Cool, I'm going to sit down and watch this.
Ah, fuck it. It's New York City, you know?
Because, I mean, like you see like most action movies, there's like something happens in a subway car. You see people screaming, running out of the cars. No, there's just 5 or 6 random people just sitting there like, okay, cool.
Somebody busts out their phone, World Star.
Yeah. Like, okay, cool, knife fight. Let's sit down and watch this. Best part of my day. The fourth scene that I have is the introduction of the Bowery King, which I love this just because you kind of get to see a different a society of assassins, like the people that frequent the Continental. Even John Wick, they look like they're well-to-do. Like they wear like tailored suits. They stay in high-class hotels. They carry on gold coins that they use as like currency. And now you've got the other side, which you've got guys like kind of begging for money in subways. They live in a hotel. They communicate via carrier pigeon,
which is really cool.
It is very cool. And I just love the scene because it's just like Lawrence Fishburne is just fucking cranked to 11 in this. Like he's just going for it, just chewing scenery left and right. And the coolest part is you get a Matrix reunion between him and Keanu. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about this. We were talking about this before we started. How good is their chemistry, Keanu and Lawrence
Fishburne? Fantastic.
These guys are meant to be on film together.
Yeah, I think they should do more together. And I don't know if Lawrence Fishburne is going to be in the new John Wick movie. I know he's in the Matrix, the fourth Matrix.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I thought doesn't his character die in the third one?
You know, like I haven't seen John Wick 3 in quite a while. It seems like whenever I see John Wick on TV, I always see 1 or 2.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I feel like his character gets killed.
Well, I'm going to look that up as I'm talking about the last scene.
All right.
I hope we don't spoil this because John Wick 3 came out 2 years ago, so I don't know if we've hit that statute of limitations on spoilers or not. I mean,
I feel like 2 years is quite a bit.
You've had plenty of time to see it. The last scene that I have is the Santino's death, where John Wick basically he's kind of being the arrogant asshole gangster that thinks nothing's going to happen to him. He's talking about the duck fat with the fries, and then John Wick just shoots him in the head in the Continental. And then it's the where John Wick gets excommunicado. I really like when you see like scenes where like, okay, like this guy's on his own now. He has nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's probably one of the better sequel setups. Like the minute they set that up, like, okay, there's going to be a John Wick 3.
Yeah, and you see all the phones ringing around him and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just John Wick and his dog.
I'm still wondering how he, like, did he walk or did he find some means to get back to where he was going?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you have any you want to add before?
Yeah. So I had some similar scenes to you. Like I had the opening car scene because that's really excellent. Another scene though that I had that was different was when he was refusing the marker. And his house gets burned down. Just the look on his face when he is looking at his house burning is just like, oh, John Wick's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah,
you fucked up. Another scene that I actually thought was really, really crazy good, and just like it showed John Wick's humanity and showed how much he really just didn't want to get back in the game. He just wanted to retire. Was when he enters the room to kill Gianna, and they're like, she decides that she's going to take herself out. It shows his compassion and humanity, and because he's, she said, "I thought we were friends," and he said, "We are." So I thought that was actually a really cool scene.
Yeah, I there was a couple scenes that I really wanted to add, but I always keep it to 5. So, do you have anything else you want to add before?
And then the museum mirrors fight scene.
That was really cool too.
Yeah. You actually let me have that one because you had it on your list originally. Yeah, that one. I mean, we've all been in a maze of mirrors, I think, and it's just like, how the fuck how do you tell where everybody is? And that'd be a really tense gunfighting scene,
Right.
And that is the ones I wanted to add.
Okay. So who wins this one?
For best scene, I'm gonna go with the catacombs.
Yeah, that would be mine too. Even like leading up to that, like I've noticed in like at least the first 2 John Wick movies, they always have the techno music in like a club setting, and him just killing people. I always thought that was really cool. So you even get that with like the singer, and then like that leading into that whole catacomb sequence. That would be my winner too. If I were watching that on TV and I seen that, like if I had like an important dinner or like I had to be somewhere and that scene was on, like, okay, I'm going to be late to this because that sequence is a good half an hour.
Yeah, and it's just so good. It's
just
violent as fuck, but it's so good.
Yeah, you get like awesome kills. John Wick just like showing you how he handles the steel. Yeah, that would be my winner too. Hey, look at that. Like, it's like we didn't even miss a beat. We're already agreeing on stuff.
Reunited and it feels so good.
I'm glad you did that because I would have sounded like shit.
Thank you.
All right, the next category is the King Kong Ain't Got Shit on Me award for best quote.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
I had trouble picking out. I had 2 that were certain, and then the rest of them, like, I don't know, it was kind of a struggle for me. First one I have is the "Somebody please get this man a gun."
Yeah,
from the Bowery.
That
line was awesome.
Yeah.
I also had we talked about this when Santino and Winston are talking, and basically like Winston's questioning, like, you didn't have to do this, but he says, "You stabbed the devil in the back and forced him back into the life that he had just left. You incinerated the priest's temple, burned it to the ground. Now he's free of the marker. What do you think he'll do? He had a glimpse of the other side, and he embraced it. But you, Senor D'Antonio, took it away from him."
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a really
I
cool.
have that as one of mine.
That actually, after I was researching this and I seen that, like, you know how like when you have like emails, you can have like a signature.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hey, like from such and such, like Carpe Diem, seize the day. That's a good one for me. I would seriously put that on there.
Yeah.
I have Winston, tell them all. Whoever comes, whoever it is, I'll kill them. I'll kill them all. From John Wick.
Yeah.
The knife is in your aorta. You pull it out, you will bleed and you will die. Consider this a professional courtesy.
Mm-hmm. I have that as one of my lines as well.
John Wick, not a man of many words in these movies, but he had two, those were pretty awesome. And then the last one, kind of a wild card, is when he goes to the Continental in Rome and he runs into Julius. And I didn't put the Italian translation down because I didn't want to butcher it. But when you translate, he asks if he's here for the Pope.
Oh yeah, like I was gonna say something to you about that. How fucking crazy is it that they're all scared of this assassin so much that they think he's gonna murder the fucking Pope?
Yeah. That scene's really cool too. The actor that plays him is Franco Nero, who was a huge star of spaghetti westerns in the 60s. You might know him from he was General Esperanza in Die Hard 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Franco Nero. Do you have any you want to add to this before we award the winner?
Yeah, I had you talked about this earlier and I wrote it down. Right at the beginning when and I can't remember the Russian guy. He's talking to his assistant that comes in there. He said, "I can assure you that the stories you hear about this man, if nothing else, have been watered down."
Yeah, I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Like he was like, he killed somebody with a fucking pencil. Who does that?
Which he does in the movie later on.
Yeah, he kills 2 people with it.
Yeah. Eat that, Joker.
Another one I have is God, I'm so bad with these damn names of these characters, but Lawrence Fishburne.
The Bowery King.
Bowery King, thank you. He's John Wick's there asking for his help, and that's when the bounty comes through. Mm-hmm. He says $7 million is a lot of money. It's Christmas. We're going to Applebee's after this.
I love that line too. And I actually, that was a wild card. Like I was thinking about putting it into.
I just thought it was funny. Like Applebee's is a celebratory fucking restaurant.
I'm sure for them it is.
Yeah. And then the last one I have is, you want a war or do you just want to give me a gun? John Wick says that to the Bowery King.
Yeah. Well, he even gives him I even like the line 7 bullets for basically gave him a bullet for each $1 million that he was worth.
Mm-hmm.
I like that too.
Yeah.
For me, I want to give this to the somebody please get this man a gun. That's the line I always think of when I think of this movie.
For me, it's consider this a professional courtesy.
Yeah, I can see that one too. So we split.
I don't know if we're gonna come to a winner here.
Well, all right. Well, just since you're back, we'll call it a tie.
Sounds good to me.
All right, but since I didn't miss any episodes because of a baby, get this man a gun. Yeah, you had to go.
What a dick I am.
Yeah, I just had to go and fuck shit up by having a kid.
Fuck shit up by fucking.
Yep. Just thinking about yourself. All right, well, we'll call the split vote on that one. Now the next category is the Lou Brown Give Him the Heater Award for Best Performance from a Bit Player, bringing the heat. I have 4. One of these might be, or actually 2 of them, I don't know if they're in the movie too much, so I don't know. We'll talk about that. But I had Peter Stormare as Tarasov. I love Peter Stormare. He's great in just about anything he's in. You might remember him as the crazy astronaut in Armageddon.
Yeah, which I think he's the one of the highlights of that movie.
Yeah, I love Armageddon. It's a bad movie, but it's a good bad movie.
I hate the science behind it because I'm a nerd like that, but other than that,
oh yeah,
I enjoy it.
Yeah, not science. If you're watching that movie to learn something, forget it. You're barking up the wrong tree.
Right.
If you want to see Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck save the world, It's your cup of tea. I hope I don't butcher this guy's name, but Peter Serafinowicz was the sommelier.
What the sommelier?
He's the guy like when John Wick goes to buy the guns or get the guns at the Continental.
Okay, yeah.
And he's like talking about like, describing the guns and they do the dessert thing. I thought his like 5 minutes is really good.
Yeah, I agree.
Now the next two guys I don't know if they're in the movie too much. This one I think he might be, but I'm going to mention him anyways. Common as Cassian, I thought was really good. He almost seems like he's John Wick's equal.
Yeah.
And he just happened to have lost the knife fight, but I think he could have easily won that just as well.
Yeah.
Then my last nominee is the one I want to give it to because he's not in the movie that much, but he's also kind of like one of the main, I guess, on the billboard. He's featured very heavily, but Lawrence Fishburne is the Bowery King. Like I said, he's dialed it up to 11, just chewing scenery left and right. And you kind of want more of him after it's done. Like, I would be okay if they did like a Netflix show or like a show on Hulu just based on the Bowery King and that whole underworld.
Nice little spin-off movie.
Mm-hmm. Which I guess they are doing the Continental. I don't know what streaming service it's going to be on, but they are doing a John Wick television show.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds
just
cool.
based on the Continental stuff. But I'm going to give it to Lawrence Fishburne.
Okay.
I mean, I think Common is in it a little too much.
Well, actually, I had Common as my Lou Brown Given the Hero Award.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have no problem giving it to Lawrence Fishburne. Because I agree with everything he said. And like we talked about, him and Keanu just have this electric chemistry on screen, and he's very believable as somebody who would be fucking doing some underground shit with some messenger pigeons.
And I think his character is really cool because he survived John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick gave him the opportunity to either die or live, and so that almost makes me wonder if that's why he didn't take the $7 million, to kill John Wick, if he didn't just do that because John Wick spared his life.
Right. Plus, he has to repay him later on. So Lawrence Fishburne wins this one?
Yep.
All right.
Although that line that he says, "You don't want me to owe you," is one of those lines where I'm just like, yeah, you probably don't, because the other guy that he owes, he's kind of going to kill him in this movie.
Right. All right. Well, we're in agreement. Lawrence Fishburne wins this one.
We are in agreement.
All right. Now, getting into a little of the Williams Somerset Research Corner. We had a review on iTunes the other day where they suggested that we add a Morgan Freeman voiceover for this, but I don't think he really speaks in that 7 scene where he's in the library, outside of maybe 1 or 2 words. So I don't know how we're going to pull that one off.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're smart guys. At least you are.
No, we got Adam for all the smart shit.
Yeah, that's right. We're smart because we bring smart people in to help us out with this.
That's right.
I pulled this first one more off of the original John Wick, but there's quite a slew of big names that were considered at one point for this. Kevin Costner, Johnny Depp, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Jason Statham, Nicolas Cage, Kurt Russell, and Dolph Lundgren were among the actors considered to play John Wick before Keanu Reeves was cast.
Kurt Russell would be the only one that I would even remotely think could pull it off.
If you're doing like a much older one, I could possibly see that. Although I would be very interested to see Nicolas Cage's take on that.
I think it would be batshit crazy.
Yeah, like, you know how I said earlier John Wick's a man of few words? Like, I could see Nicolas Cage being the complete opposite.
A man of way too many words.
Yeah. This film takes place less than a week after the events of John Wick.
Yeah, it seems like it picks up right away, which I like.
I do too. I like that when like the sequel is like almost like continuing almost immediately after the end of the first one.
Yeah, I think that makes it flow a lot better.
Yeah, not a fan of 7 years later when they start a sequel. I mean, it works.
It just kind of throws you off.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves did all of his stunts in this movie, with the exception of getting hit by a car and falling down the steps during his fight with Common.
Which I also would not want to be hit by a car.
Neither would I.
And falling down the steps sucks balls. So
yeah,
I'd also
as
skip
someone
that.
has done that, yeah, it does.
So I'm with him on that. That's good on him for skipping those two.
This next fun fact was featured in the John Wick 2 bonus features on the Blu-ray. Do you want to take a wild stab on how many people were killed in this movie?
I know it's over 100.
116.
That's a lot of dead people.
That's a lot of killing.
That's a lot of
killing.
Where the fuck are the cops?
Yeah, the only cop you see in 2 is when his buddy, after his house gets burned down, he's talking to him, and they're kind of doing that like that secret code when they know what happened, but they don't want to acknowledge what happened. Like, gas leak,
huh?
Yeah.
I feel like I know that. Is that actor on a TV? Is he on a TV show?
I swear that a guy was on The Wire. If you've ever
I was
seen
thinking
The Wire.
of something else. I'll look it up and see if I can figure it out. But I remember him from something.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure he's on The Wire.
I've never seen that.
Oh,
I know
dude.
I know that I should, but I've never seen it.
I can't brag about that show enough. HBO has put out many a great television show over the years, but that is in the top 5.
Really?
I would actually... I'd say it's a toss-up between The Wire and The Sopranos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The last fact that I have is when they were creating they were pitching ideas for the sequel, they had a ton of different ones, including John Wick saving his estranged daughter, which I don't really like that idea.
Yeah, and when I looked up this fact, too, because I had it originally, I may even have it still on there. Yeah, I can't see, like, Keanu Reeves really, besides the new Bill and Ted, he really isn't much for being a parent in his movies.
Yeah. Well, I think the closest thing outside of that was he was the coach in Hardball. Have you ever seen Hardball, where he's like a piece of shit gambler and he coaches the youth baseball team?
No, I don't think I have.
It's not bad. It's kind of like one of them sports movies, like ragtag group of kids, the loser coach. It's kind of a more dramatic version of the Bad News Bears.
Okay.
I mean, I guess that style where it's a loser takes on kids that like need direction, and he ends up molding them into something better than.
I was gonna say that's kind of like the stereotypical sports movie.
Yeah, basically like any sports movie that features kids. So.
By the way, that actor I was thinking of, I remember him from The Newsroom.
Okay, so was he on The Wire?
Thomas Sadowski, I believe is how you say his name. Let me see. The Wire. Was he on The Wire? I'm not seeing it here, Lloyd. Yeah, I don't see it on here. On his filmography.
He looks like he was on The Wire.
So, yeah, I didn't see it on there, but he may have been. So, for my research, I had the opening sequence where he's trying to get his car back. Mm-hmm. Keanu Reeves actually wrecked 4 Mustangs, 4 very expensive Mustangs. And
That
there was
breaks
no
my
stunt
heart
driver.
sometimes.
It was him doing that.
Mhm.
So I'm sure they were very excited about him fucking up 4 very expensive cars.
That breaks my heart seeing that. That's rough.
Yeah.
It's just like I'll take it. You don't have to do that.
Just drive the car out of there, bud. You don't have to fight everybody.
Yeah. What else you got, buddy?
Keanu Reeves trained for 3.5 months for the movie. And most of the training was focused on him to reload extremely quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So when he's reloading the gun that fast, he's actually reloading the gun that fast.
Yeah.
He struck up a real bond with the dog in the movie. The dog's name was Burton, and he was a rescue. And he actually landed the job of being John Wick's dog because of his sad eyes.
Really?
Yep. Little dog fact, because we're dog lovers.
Mm-hmm. My house.
And in the well, we both have 2 dogs apiece. So, and then the scene where Gianna kills herself. When they were writing this, they had a problem with trying to come up with how they wanted to do that. So Keanu Reeves came up with the idea of her to kill herself. Like, they didn't know how he was going to kill her. Was the original idea. So he suggested that she kill herself and he be there as almost like a support, which I think, like I said, it shows John Wick's humanity. It shows that he didn't really want to do this, even though, towards the end it seemed more like he was enjoying himself. But at the time, he really didn't want to go kill Gianna.
Right. He had to. So.
Yeah. It was either that or everybody came and killed him.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my research.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Final category of the movie. Who wins the movie for you?
Keanu wins the movie, and he wins my heart.
Yeah. Why does he win the movie?
Because he's everything to this movie. The way that Keanu comes across is just calm, but also like calculating killer. The way he delivers his few lines that he has. The training, all the stunts that he did on his own, just everything that he puts into these movies is it's excellent.
Yeah. I would have to say the same. I really couldn't think of anybody else but Keanu. And I actually have it down as his career before John Wick was starting to head into direct-to-DVD territory. He really hadn't come up with anything good in quite a long time. I think prior to this, the last big movie he did might have been The Matrix Revolutions, which wasn't a great movie.
That movie was ass.
But then he starts treading into, I think he did Street Kings, and then I think The Lake House with Sandra Bullock. I think he played a supporting role in, a Jack Nicholson movie. But then even, after this one came out, he was starting to do, the schlocky direct-to-DVD stuff.
Which I'm going to reveal something about myself real quick.
Go right ahead.
I don't mind, the sappy chick flick films. So that movie he did with Sandra Bullock, I kind of liked it.
I don't think I've ever seen The Lake House.
It's not bad. I liked it.
Fun fact for you, I probably won't watch it.
Well, it's not exactly your cup of tea.
All right, well, good to know. But he was I've noticed with Keanu Reeves' career, he kind of has this ebb and flow. He has a lot of peaks and valleys. And he was he got big during Point Break, and then Speed comes out, and he's a major star. He kind of has a okay run for a little while, then kind of starts to hit a dip. Then The Matrix comes out, makes him a big star again. Then after those, he kind of hits a dip, and he was at that age where a lot of actors, especially actors in the action genre, really. The action genre is kind of I see that as kind of how Hollywood really shits on female roles. Once you hit a certain age, if you're a female actress, you're usually typecast for some weird reason as a mother figure or a teacher, or, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
And like with older action stars, they kind of get sent from like being like, okay, like Keanu had his run. We got to make way for The Rock, and we got to make way for Statham, and we don't need Keanu. We don't need Arnold anymore.
Let's put him in a comedy.
Right, or you're just starting to do stuff that like, oh, hey, you know, they made Kickboxer 6. We got Keanu Reeves to do it. Awesome. But, you know, like they start to hit that direct-to-DVD territory, and that's where Keanu was at before these movies. And
yeah, I'm looking back through his filmography right now. The Matrix Reloaded came out in 2003, which I know is not the best Matrix movie. The original is, but The Matrix Reloaded I think is actually pretty good.
I find it entertaining. Yeah, The Matrix Revolutions is the one that just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, so between 2003, he did Constantine in 2005, which I've never seen, but I've heard it's bad.
Mm-mm. The TV show that they did was much better.
So as far as like action movies go, yeah, he didn't have anything until John Wick in 2014.
Right. And now, like, arguably, the John Wick franchise is probably, of the last 10 or 11 years, probably I'm trying to think, like, outside of the superhero genre. I guess it's a completely different world altogether. But, I mean, I think Mad Max Fury Road would probably be the only action movie that I could think of that would, off the top of my head. Now, if I had looked, I could probably, and The Raid. I think the Raid movies came out in the 2010s. Yeah, they did. Outside of those three, which the Raid movies, I guess, are not quite as well known as Mad Max, but I think Keanu Reeves has arguably made the best action franchise of the last 10 or 12 years.
Yeah. And, you know, it's a big reason for it, not just the writing, it's him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now he's a big star again. I mean, there's been talk of him joining the MCU. And, you know, once you're part of the MCU, you're going to have some legs in the industry still. So,
and you're going to have a shit ton of money too.
Yeah, and now he's revisiting The Matrix again, which I think if he hadn't been successful with John Wick, I don't really think that they would have done a fourth one.
Yeah, I don't know if they would have greenlit it.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, can we bank on Keanu to sell this movie? I mean, and like those movies, like I think 2 did better than 1 at the box office, but I know 3 was a big disappointment for Warner. But yeah, like I wouldn't have greenlit that too if Keanu was doing like shit like Knock Knock, you know.
Which that movie's,
yeah. But now John Wick, like he's a bankable star again.
Yeah, which I'm very happy about because he's such a good actor and he's a fucking great dude. Mm-hmm. You read stories about all the stuff he does with his fans and stuff. He's just a cool dude.
Yeah, like looking back, like you kind of don't really appreciate who he is and what he's done until like you think about it,
Yeah.
So, yeah, Keanu wins it for me too. I really don't think there was anybody that had a shot at this outside of him. Like Keanu Reeves is the John Matrix series. If we did 1 or 3, I could probably tell you that he would win those 2 awards as well.
Mm-hmm. So,
all right, we're in agreements. Like that's kind of weird. We agreed on almost all the categories today.
Yeah. I've been away too long.
That must have been it. Like, it's like, oh, hey, like it's like fitting that puzzle piece back together.
Yeah.
Might take a couple, but yeah, for the most part, it's going to fit right in. So, hey,
I tell you, Russ, it's damn good to be back.
I'm glad you're back too. And I guess next week, since you're back, we're going to do the Clueless watch along next week. That's going to be the episode coming out next.
As if.
Ew. As if.
Stephanie.
Yeah. Should we tell them what we're doing? We got something kind of cooked up since we kind of shit the bed on the Clueless one. Should we tell them what we're doing the week after?
No, I would wait because, what if we have another scheduling conflict?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it wouldn't be like a watch along thing where I think I just had it planned for me, you, and Adam.
All right, well, you go ahead and spill it then.
All right, well, since the following week is the day after the 4th of July, we're going to do Independence Day.
Woo! Yeah!
Another one that Lucas has requested that we do, and we're finally pulling the trigger on it. I guess it makes sense to do it right after the 4th of July.
I think so.
Yeah, so those are the next 2 episodes coming up. We still got some really good ones coming up. We did tease an episode at the end of the month on Facebook and Instagram, so if you want to follow us on those, you can go check out what we've got coming up at the end of the month. That's going to be a really cool concept, I think.
Yeah. We also I'm doing stuff on TikTok. I didn't get to do anything for RoboCop. Unfortunately, I was under the weather this past week. But I will be doing something for John Wick. I'll figure it out. I haven't figured it quite out yet, but go follow us on TikTok as well. Couch Brotato Podcast.
Yeah. We're on Facebook, at Instagram, Twitter. We're on TikTok now. At Couch Brotato Podcast. You can email us at couchbrotatopodcast@gmail.com. So if you want to let us know what we're doing, awesome. Any show ideas, want to let Lucas know that you're glad he's back, whether you want to let him know, like, hey, we wish you would have stayed away.
Adam was so much better than you.
Yeah, whatever. Feel free to contact us on any of the socials. We'd love to hear from you guys, interact with you. That would be awesome. Kind of get some feedback. We did get, you weren't, I don't think I told you, but for the indie episode, we kind of made a mistake on one of the actors, and we had somebody call us out on it. So, yeah, I mean, even if we make a mistake like that, we'd love to hear from you so we can acknowledge it so we can do better. So,
yeah. We're not perfect.
Nope.
We just sound like it.
That's a great way to end this episode. So, yeah, hit us up on the socials or email. We'd love to hear from you. So until next Monday, we will talk at you guys then. Bye, everybody.
Deuces.